Well, that was very cool.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is our very first live interactive webinar series broadcast. We are doing a Broadway audition masterclass with Darin Adams today.
I'm scared to unmute myself now. I think I'm going to go into a loop. Well, hi guys. I will not be able to hear you if you're muted, but that's all right. I'll talk at you for a minute and then I can't wait to hear you sing. So as way of introduction, I love to be in the room with singers. This is a first, so we'll experiment with it together. I think it's going to work fine. What I'd love to accomplish with you today is it's sometimes hard to know kind of what's going on in the professional realm when you're thousands of miles from those auditions. And we get used to what we're doing maybe in the high school classroom or auditions for shows at high schools where standards are different and things are just different. And even if you never go to New York and never do an audition for a Broadway show, it's just nice to know kind of what are the professional standards and how is it run. And so I thought it would be fun to work with you in that capacity to give you any insights, anything I could bring that tells you what it's like in the room in New York, so to speak. I'm happy to do that. I work, as was introduced, I work with a lot of Broadway dancers and singers on voice, and I'll work in a wide variety. Sometimes I'll get casting directors who will ask me to work with someone to let them know if they can handle the rigors of a certain role, or if they would make it through 8 shows a week, or if their voice technique is in good shape for that. I also will sometimes get singers who are a bit in trouble with their voices, who are already in shows, and I help them kind of fix the problems and sing healthy. And then I also compose and write shows, and so I get to see the industry from a lot of different angles. And my wife and I have been singers for years, spent a lot of years doing both opera and musical theater. So I love this. The main thing I would say even before we start though is I like to encourage singers and performers of your age that the happiest people I know on Broadway or in New York, even aspiring artists in New York, the happiest people I know are the ones who are doing it because they love it. It's just in them to do it. The music makes them happy. Sharing their gift through singing, dancing, acting, whatever it is something they do because it's how they put it back in the world. They feel like it's a gift. They feel like it's a privilege to do, and so they do it. So I would encourage you that way, that even though we're talking more on a professional level and kind of, you know, how we tune ourselves up for that, I would encourage you to always think of your artistic journey more as a way to express yourself, a way to understand what's beautiful and unique about you that you can bring to a song or to a role, because it could be that you are singing locally, it could be that you wander into a retirement community someday to sing for people, or it could be that you're a lead on Broadway. And honestly, it doesn't matter one way or another. If you have something beautiful to bring it. And that's what I'm really looking to help you with today, is how to have that happen confidently. So this is masterclass style, which means I'm going to have you sing. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to ask you to try things. I'm going to ask you to be confident enough to fail in front of your peers and know that they love you and support you. So this now becomes a very safe environment. We're going to try and we're going to risk things in front of each other, and we're going to grow. By the way, when you're listening to each other, that's sometimes the most informative part of the masterclass is people who are listening to others. And I always say this when I do a high school masterclass, is I know you know this and you'll be supportive of each other, and this is actually a rather small group comparatively, but I always say this: how you support one another and how you listen and engage with the class even when you're not on and singing is actually part of how you present yourself. And it's the same thing which, if you ever get to an audition room, you never know who's riding the elevator with you. You never know who's just about to walk in the room with you. You never know if they're watching you or hearing what you've said as you leave the room. So I always say that your time in the chair is going to be as important as your time standing next to the piano. And the last little anecdote I'll give you is I was in Atlanta just now it's why I'm in a hotel room. I'm on my way back to New York, but I was in Atlanta at the Junior Theater Festival, and they have a bunch of different artists and people. So I was working there and showing Appcompanist, and my 5-year-old daughter gets in and turns to this other guy in the elevator and says, "I have a cold. My daddy's taking me to the doctor, and he said I can bring this kitty." And the guy looks down and says, "Well, I think it's a lovely fashion accessory." And I look up and see Stephen Schwartz standing there talking to my 5-year-old daughter. So that's who she was meeting in the elevator. And I thought, this proves my point perfectly. If ever you don't know who you're going to be standing next to, just be aware. So let me get started with you guys. I'm going to let you unmute yourselves while I'm unmuted. I would love to be able to talk back and forth. Let's see if the technology lets us do that. If not, I'll have to mute.
Right, we are talking.
We're live with each other. Awesome. Okay, who do I have first?
Hi, that's me.
Okay, first victim. Let's do it. And if you will, when you get to the piano, just tell me who you are and what you're going to sing.
Okay.
It's a little bit dark.
Should we turn on the lights?
We can, but you won't be able to see that.
Okay, well, hello, I'm McKenna Armstrong, and I will be singing Missing You, My Bill from the Civil War, an American musical.
Okay, before you sing, do you by chance, are you going to sing full songs today, or do you have audition cuts prepared?
We have audition cuts, 32 bars.
Ah, bless you. Okay, great. Thank you.
Learn to join the tree today. I laughed so hard and cried, and Billy helped and scraped his knee, but he took it all in stride. Day by day I get by, making do the best I can. Sunset sets just behind our eyes, and the memories come in the evening chill. You long for your touch like a lover will. Oh, I'm missing you. How I'm missing you. Thank you.
Great job. Remind me your first name. I'm sorry.
McKenna Armstrong.
McKenna. Beautiful voice, McKenna, and nice performance too. Good job.
Thank you.
Excellent. So here's what I think. Just to start with, sometimes you make yourself a little small. I'm going to give you a couple of notes, and then I'm going to have you kind of apply those notes, and then I'll work on a couple specific things with you. Okay? The first thing is we got to be aware of our physical gestures. And I put this computer on a garbage can on a desk in my hotel because I'm like, I have to be able to use my hands and body. So can you see me if I move to about here?
Yes.
So, and can you still hear me fine?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so your gestures sometimes are crumpling you on yourself. And I know it's a way for you to kind of express what's going on inside, but it closes everything up. And a few times when you were struggling with, uh-oh, am I going to stay in my belt, or am I going to go ahead and flip to that mix, which we'll talk about in a minute. A few times I noticed it was when you were sort of in on yourself like this, and it's collapsing all the area you actually need to make those decisions in a physically more informed way. So that's the first thing, is I think you need to choose that, and all of us need to think about this. Can the class still see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So this is for all of you guys, but there's kind of a standard set for your ribs and your rib cage and your position of your shoulders and everything. And it really needs to remain open. And then whatever gesture you do, even if it's like this, if you removed my arms, you would notice that this frame didn't collapse. When you roll your shoulders forward, like this, that frame collapses. So just be aware of that. That's the first thing. A couple other little notes I just think you can incorporate, and we're going to do it again, is on the front and back. On the front was better. On the back, you kind of left the piece before the piece was over. And I know it's so awkward because you're singing to like a talking head on a camera and your peers. So it's weird, but that's still part of the moment. That's still part of the audition, if you will, since we're working in an audition context. So whatever it is, your leave-off thought has to carry you right until the last note of the piano, and even beyond sometimes. You can stay locked in that moment of whatever it is that you're saying. So the last thing I want you to do is tell me in your own words, just speaking, what is the arc of this story for you? What are you trying to express and tell?
I'm trying to express that this woman has her husband leave on war and she misses him and she hopes that he's okay and she hopes that he's alive, because usually they don't know, like in that time they didn't know whether they were or not. So it's just kind of like that hope, but also that kind of dread of not knowing. So.
Okay. So raise the stakes for yourself a little bit. When you approach that story and you start to tell it, and I know this sounds like a cheesy acting exercise, but it's really actually helpful, which is raise the stakes by making it you. So you would say, I'm terrified. I love this man. And I'm terrified that when I say goodbye, this could be it. And I may not choose the right words, and that may ruin it. Or, if I never see him again, what happens to my life? Am I ever going to find this again? You have to put a subtext to it that is personal, and it's you. And then for all of you guys, and this is true of anything in musical theater, when we assume a character, you have to find things from your own life that make sense to that. We're not saying goodbye to people to war, but we certainly, even as a teen, you have experiences with the fear of loss, with that. So is there any little thing, if you don't mind sharing, is there anything that you could bring to this? I don't care if you say it's a pet, a best friend, a parent. What could you bring to this where you've experienced that fear of letting go, not knowing if the loss is going to follow or if a great reunion is going to follow?
I had a brother who went on a mission. He came home, thankfully, but it was it was kind of scary because he was probably like the closest person I was to, closest person. Yeah.
So he knew your heart. And in a way, we need to be able to go back and forth between romantic love expressed in a song. If that's not something we're experienced in, you need to be able to substitute another of that intense emotional connection. And so I love that you're describing it that way. And that's totally appropriate. It's not weird at all to be able to substitute like that. Okay. So let's take a run at it again. And let's make sure that from the beginning, all of that subtext is starting in your mind from the moment the accompanist is ready, and that you tell that story, but your gestures are limited to your shoulders staying kind of back and down, and you can do whatever you want with your hands, just don't crumple up on me, okay? And when you get to the end, you need to reason out the last part of what you say through your eyes until you're done, okay? Mm-hmm. We'll do it all the way through, see if you can take those notes, and then I'm going to work a couple specific vocal things before I'm done with you.
Okay, thank you. I learned to chop a tree today. I laughed so hard I cried. He helped and scraped his knee, but he took it all in stride. Day by day I get by, I do the best I can. When the sun slowly sets just behind our hill, and the memories come in the evening. Chill. I long for your touch, like a lover will. I'm missing you. I'm missing you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's better. Okay. You had chills going on me from the start because something real was happening in your eyes. There are a few times the gesture of your left arm when you just take it to your stomach and leave it there. Sometimes that feels like it's just, oh, is that your left arm? Wait a minute.
It's my right, but yeah.
No, it's the left I'm talking about, though. You actually bring that one onto your stomach and leave it there sometimes. Just be aware of that. And videoing yourself will help, because sometimes repetitive and stagnant gestures for us just become habit. Very little of it happened, though, and it was really a beautiful performance. Now, when it works up, what is the top note that you're going to the evening? Your accompanist, if you need help, you could say, what is the top you're going over?
It's a D.
It's a D. Okay. So we're probably not belting that. We're probably going to let that go to a belt mix. But I think so back up a little before that, and I want to see what we can do with your vocal approach. You're switching early to your head voice, kind of. And I want you to take a risk and talk, let a little more of your speaking voice go up with you. So would you do this for me? Just go, hey.
Hey.
Yeah. Can you do it like whinier and cryier, like you're going to sort of cry whine?
Hey.
Yes. Yes. No, that's right. So did you notice that the second one wasn't a yell like in your chest, like, hey? It wasn't that. It had more whine to it. You can put a D up there. Okay. So can we go a few measures before that? Oh, now I'm getting a weird echo. But let's go a few measures before that and see if we can't get that.
Okay. Yeah. When the sun slowly sets just behind our eyes, and the memories come in the evening chill.
Great. Stop for a sec. So when you, it's great. I want to go further. So when you do in the evening chill, I want your body to feel like you're bringing it up from the floor. In the evening chill, as opposed to in the where you're reaching with your throat, all body. I want this to be almost like that whiny cry. Go, no way.
No way.
No, but like loud, like you're complaining.
No way. Like
I want that. That's what I want in the evening chill. I want it to sound like that.
Can I just do it without the accompaniment? And just
Yeah, do it.
Okay. In the evening chill. Kind of.
More.
More? Okay.
Yeah. You could do it.
In the evening chill. Kind of.
I definitely like.
More body.
Yeah, I think what's happening is chill is great. As you start coming down, you're confident. But I think when you go up, you could lean right in the front of your face, right here, and just give me that whiny, supported sound. Try it.
Okay. In the evening chill. I don't know. I can't.
Yes, you can. You can. Go. We. Up to the D. So the note that you go.
Wee.
Yes. Now give me that whiny and loud like a complaining girl.
Evening chill.
I kind of love that. No, I kind of love that.
Okay.
I do. I know it breaks over for you, but you were breaking over like a fourth before you got up there. So do me this favor. Do the same thing again. That little segment you did with the accompaniment. And I want you to start up that ascending scale as though you're not scared of it breaking. If it cracks, it cracks. But let your belt head up the hill. And I swear, if when your belt starts to feel like, oh crud, it can't get up there, I want you to flood a little air into it and whine, cry. Like right before you cry, that I'm getting like right in the camera. So I want you to head up the hill and don't step off the gas at all. In fact, step on the gas, let it whine, cry over the top, and just let me hear what happens. If it cracks, we'll all applaud you phenomenally.
Okay. All right. Okay. Where are we starting? Okay. When the sun slowly sets just behind our eyes.
Yes.
And the memories come in the evening chill. How I long for your touch, like a lover will. Oh, I'm missing you. How I'm missing you, my girl.
Yes. Oh, that's great. That's beautiful over the top. You know, the thing is, for you, you don't need to go to the more sort of choir girl head voice. Your voice goes up there beautifully. And on a D, it's a mix for you at best. Maybe even a belt later on. Like if I was in the room, I'd be pulling on your hands a little bit and trying to get your body support up a little and see if I couldn't get you to belt it. I think you might be able to. I don't think it's important. I love the mix you just gave to it. A belt mix feels like you're still belting. It's just you allow the larynx to move up a little and you kind of cry whine into it. So it's not something, you know, if I can't go to the piano and get to you, it's not something I can just kind of work you through right now. But I like you going that direction. And it sounds like you have a wonderful teacher already. So I think, you know, based on what I'm hearing, you're doing great vocal work. I would work that mix a little bit. It should be stronger. It shouldn't sound like another girl came in the room on the top. And this last time it didn't. It sounded like the same girl. The only last thing is just the 2 times you say how I'm missing you, that missing has to affect you differently. The first one, it feels like the first one needs to follow on all the stuff you experienced without him, and it hurts. It has pain to it. And then maybe the second one is that vulnerable admission that just says, this is not good without you. I'm different. And so the second one expresses you, how you feel, okay? Same section to the end. Get right up to the top in that big mix again. I love how fast you came back to your belt. I love the little cry crack you're giving on the way down. It's very pop. That's very now, and it fits in musical theater, even though this isn't a brand new show. It brings a very new sound to it. I love it. Keep that. And then as you get to the end, just give me one real pained version of telling how much you miss him, and then one admitting what it does to you. And that's what makes you say his name, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that to the end, and then I'm going to sit you down and go to the next.
Okay, all right. Same 32 bars. Same 32 bars. You want me to restart from the beginning?
No, actually, I'd love to go right before that phrase you just did a second ago.
Okay. So
I loved the start that time. I had chills all the way to that part that we're working on now, so I wouldn't change much about that last bit.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the first bit.
No, you're going
just
back.
go to the beginning of the 32 bars.
No, the start you just did before the.
Yeah, the sun slowly.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
All right. When the sun slowly sets just behind us.
Sorry, can I fix one thing?
Yes.
Sets is almost like sits because you're closing your jaw so hard on it. Open your mouth a bit. Sun slowly sits. It's kind of like that right now.
Okay.
Is the word sits or sets?
It sets.
Yeah, open your mouth. Sun slowly sets. You need more space for your voice to go, or you're going to get tight in your throat a little bit. So just open up a bit.
All right.
Okay.
When the sun slowly sets just behind our hill, and the memories come in the evening chill, and we long for your touch like a lover will. We're missing you. We're missing you, my baby.
Great. One more little thing. I don't know if you noticed, but I bet your colleagues did. You put your shoulders right up to your ears again.
I knew it. Yeah.
Gotta get those babies down a little bit because it's tightening your throat up on you again. Just the very last two lines after you've gone over the top. I just want that again. And when I say 2 different missing, one is, oh, I'm missing you, really intense. And then almost the breath could separate them. Missing you, I'm missing you, I will. You know, it has to have 2 different approaches to it. And I know you can do it. Now get your shoulders off your ears, do it one more time, and then we're done.
Okay. All right. Start from sun slowly sets.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry. When the sun slowly sets just behind our hill, and the memories come in the evening chill, how we long for your touch
Yeah, I buy that. I buy that. Good job. Excellent.
Thank you. All
Well
right.
done. Who's my next victim?
Thank you.
Here, I have paper.
So guys, while she's preparing, I'll talk to the rest of you for a second. When you're prepping your, oh, I don't need to, okay, that's fine. When you're prepping your audition material, it's really important that you do the acting work behind the singing. She actually did. I could see the acting work done, but it had sort of fallen to a routine. You know, it had fallen into a presentational routine. And the thing about a great audition presentation is when it feels like it's the very first time you're saying whatever it is you're saying to us. So if you walk in the room and you can actually put your mind space and for the first time feel that fear and that longing, and then put that out so that for us it feels like, oh my gosh, this is happening right now. And part of that is the work we talked about. You know, she started off describing, you know, oh, she's worried about her husband and this is a time of war when they didn't know. That's very distant from you as a person. So right from the start, really personalize and do the work so that your audition can become this moment in the room that we share together, as opposed to you're telling a story and then we're evaluating your voice. That's really kind of the lowest bar in the audition room. When I work with casting directors a lot in these kind of seminars, and they're always saying, when they do their part of the seminar, they're always saying, we're on your side. We want you to be good. We're not honed in on every note of your voice. What we're actually looking for is for you to be real and tell a story and engage with the material and move us, make us feel something with you. Because that's, remember, their job is just to go to the creative team and say, these are the people that we think would be good. Eventually, it's the creative team and the music director and composer who's going to be sitting there saying, does this make sense? And you can't do anything about it at that point. You know, you just be you and you go in and you're either right or you're not. And so you don't have to get hung up on that. What you need to be hung up on in the beginning is who am I right now in this moment? And what am I trying to express? Okay. So that's the work pre-walking in the room. Now let's go to the next and we'll see what we can get done.
Thank you. Hi, hello, my name is Addie Ray, and I'll be singing On My Own from Les Miserables.
Awesome.
On my own, pretending he's beside me. I watch for him till morning. Without him, I feel his arms around me. When I lose my way, I close my eyes and he is near me. Though I know it's only in my mind that I'm talking to myself. Not to him. No, I know that he is mine. Still I say there is a way for us. I love him, but when the night is over, he is gone. The river's just a river. In darkness, the world around me changes. The trees are bare and everywhere the streets are full of strangers. I love him, but every day I'm learning. All my life His world will go on turning, a world that's full of happiness that I have never known. I love him. I love him. I love him. But only on my own. Thank you.
Oh, I think you're on mute. You're on mute. Sorry.
I muted so I wouldn't hear weird loops. I said, what is going on in Utah? Geez, I was out there teaching live with CS Music, I don't know, maybe a month ago. And it's like everywhere I go in Utah, there's all these amazing, you guys, your class already, I've heard 2 people, you guys are phenomenal. You're wonderful singers, both of you girls. Wow. Beautiful voice. Both of you have beautiful voices, and I'm amazed. So whatever it is, keep doing it out there. I don't know, maybe it's that LDS church or something. Whatever, I won't even comment on that. But so listen, okay, so you need an audition cut, clearly. That's wonderful performance. Since it's an audition workshop, I think I wouldn't be afraid of starting your cut on, and although it's only in my mind, I think you could make that work. You know, and then I think we're gonna need to make another probably deep cut toward the end as well. But for now, let's go at the big, you know, kind of F chord where it's, I love him, but every day I'm learning. P.S. Addie, there's a couple of lyrics that are important that you get them right. And this is a funny thing because like it's a horrible story. I was actually singing for Frank Wildhorn in an audition, did my stuff that I had prepared to do, and then they pulled aside from the show and said, it was Jekyll and Hyde, I think, at the time, and pulled aside from the show, and I butchered the lyrics. And there's the grumpy guy in the baseball cap that I didn't even realize was Frank Wildhorn said, you know, it's better if you sing the words I wrote. So, you know, or the lyrics that. So there's a word in there where you say, I feel my arms around him, and then I close my when I close my eyes, I lose my way. No, wait a second. It's around and found, and you changed up the lyrics so that the rhyme scheme changed. So just be aware of that. Yeah, so make sure. And there was another one where you put an is, it's a contraction, and you made it is instead. I wish I should have been writing it down as I went. Anyway, there was about 3 places where the lyrics hit me where I went, oh my gosh, different lyric. So just be very aware. If you're singing from a junior show or a junior version, that could be why, and that's fine. But then if you do take that version and go to an audition that is not a junior version, make sure you get the correct version that you would be singing. All right. The belt is awesome and easy. It's forward. It's placed beautifully. Don't move that around. Don't change that. It's really in a great spot. Honestly, I would tell you if there was stuff to fix up about that. It's in a great spot, and especially for your age, I would say it's exactly appropriately placed. So stay there. The vibrato is working well. The air is moving through your voice in a very healthy way. I want to go toward the end again, and this time, I know you're used to pulling up and off and making sort of a piano moment. Happiness that I have never known, and pulling way back. I want you to try being pissed off that the whole world gets their love story and yours sucks. You get nothing and then you die. In fact, you get beaten and you stay poor and then you die. That's your life story. And the sad thing is I think you know that before it ever even happens. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not going to happen for me. That's why you only dream about it. So stay pissed. The world is full of happiness that I have never known. Mad. And then it's like, crap, but here's the reality. I love him. Okay, that'll make that mean something different, okay? Let's go from the first, the I love him after the bridge.
Okay. Oh, here.
Oh, that.
Yeah. love him, but every day I'm learning. It's not a river, it's just a river. Without him, the world around me changes. A world that's full of happiness that I have never known. I love him.
Good. Let me stop you. So go back and just grab the. There's two verses that you're mixing together right now.
Yeah. Sorry.
Which is fine. So it's I love him, but when the night is over. No, I love him, but every day I'm learning. All my life I've only been pretending. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's get that one.
I love him, but every day I'm learning. All my life I've only been pretending. Without me, his world will go on turning. A world that's full of happiness that I have never known. I love him. I love him. I love him, but only on my own.
Yeah. Like take that in now. You could take that in now. You could audition with that now. It's really beautiful. Now, I will tell you, typically, there's a couple of like taboo shows that people will say, oh, don't use Les Mis in an audition. But, I swear more often than not, again, when I'm teaching with casting directors, more often than not, they say, I don't want to hear something from the show they're auditioning for. But other than that, I don't really care if they sing the crud out of it like you just did. It's fine. I feel like, this shows you well. It's a good character. She's your age. I believe you. I believe what you're saying. There's only one little thing I would like to change, and I'm not shorting you and I'm not copping out on you. But honestly, it's in a really good place, Addie. It's like you've done some really good work and it's in a great place. If you do start on a cut like that, this is the moment where so this is your typical, let me move my little. So this is kind of your typical position, which is fine. I mean, I think that's part of your character for her. But when she decides, I love him, but every day I'm learning, it's got to be like more aggressive and more of your body would be involved in that. Okay. So I want you to kind of pull out of this mode for a little bit, the twiddling the fingers thing. It actually works in other parts, so I'm not against the gesture. I just don't love it at that big moment of admitting. You're admitting it. I love him. Okay, and then when you sing the word pretending, you have a great belt on an E vowel, which is actually kind of rare. You may not have it in another 5 years on that same E vowel. It's part of it is that you're young and when you're your age, you have these steely chords that'll do anything. But what I want you to do is change the last syllable of pretending. Instead of ding, I want it to be almost like dang. I want you to open your mouth. It's exciting, but it could be more exciting. So it's going pretending, very E. I want pretending. Okay, like almost an A sound. Okay, so do all my life. Go right on all my life.
All my life, I've only been pretending.
Yeah, can you be more confident about that? That's halfway there. I actually love the vowel and sound, but you've seen like Idina Menzel sing and people like that, or Sutton Foster.
Yeah.
It's like they're gonna bite your head off. You know? Watch like Give Me That Thing Called Love. Watch Sutton Foster on YouTube, one of her old performances from like Rosie O'Donnell, and she finishes and she sings That Thing Called Love at the end of the song. Pause it and start it while she's singing the vowel, and you will notice that it is not love. It's not an a vowel. It's like she's saying the word laugh. It's an a vowel. Do it. It's a fun exercise for all of you. So what I'm saying is you need to be willing to modify vowels to the most resonance and ring. And I think your voice wants to ring a little more. I want to see your teeth like you're going to bite a grapefruit.
Okay.
Pretending. Big out like that.
Okay.
All my life. Oh, and take your tempo. Just as a general note on this piece, I think your whole tempo needs to be faster.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. All my life, I've only been pretending without me.
Good. Sooner to the vibrato, faster to the vibrato, and then like a train leaving your mouth, it doesn't slow down. It just goes until it exits the tunnel. So once you get on it, pretending without him. Okay?
Yeah.
One more time.
Okay. All my life, I've only been pretending without me.
Yeah, right. So where it falls is it's kind of between a belt and a mix, belt mix, which is great. I mean, it's healthier that way. I would mess with it a little more, but for purposes of class like this, you have like 3 awesome options. You know, you have an closed E vowel on a belt. You have an open, more A kind of vowel on a full belt. And then you have the one you just did, which was sort of a belt mix. Those are all 3 great options. And that's where you really do have to, you know, get back in with the coach and say, I don't know, what rings best? What works best in the room? If, you know, if this were a different environment, we'd just take a vote of the students and they would say, oh, we loved that third one. In fact, do that after we're done. And then you're going to lock that in. You know, that's part of the process is you're going to want to lock in how you perform that. You know, every time I go up to the C, it's going to be this way, you know, is provided you don't have a cold or you're sick. You want to know ahead of time, this is how I'm doing it. Yeah, the tempo, just to finish you up, the tempo, it needs to drive in places, especially places like the world is full of happiness that I have never known. It can move through those lyrics really, really quickly. The trees are barren everywhere. The streets are full of strangers. I'm going to tell you about an app later in the thing where that's why we built the app with the things that we built it with, so that people could try things with the recordings in many different ways. And that's the freedom you need. And then you'll experiment with that with your live accompanist. Excellent work. Keep going the same direction. Really positive stuff. I'm going to go to the next person. Thanks. Addie, while you're there, I would love for you to learn some pop. You should do some pop rock stuff too.
Great. Okay. I can work on that as well.
Yeah, I think it would be smart for you because so many musicals now are pop rock based, and I can just hear in your voice, it's a good voice for that kind of stuff. Like you could definitely do the pulled and by the same note there, McKenna, there's so many. It's McKenna, right? The first one I sang. Yeah, same thing for you. I think there's a lot of wonderful, the thicker voiced pop artists, like some Bonnie Raitt songs and some things like that. I'm not trying to get you all to sing pop. I'm just saying within the realm of musical theater auditions, branch out a little bit, because like McKenna, you've got that warm, rich, low voice. Adele, stuff like that would be really pretty in your voice. Addie, like you could actually push into the higher pop singers. You know, you might want to look at some like Avril Lavigne stuff. Might sound fun on you. Even Taylor Swift, something like that. I only say that because have in your book for auditions, have that covered if your voice will do it. You know, obviously if you have a big operatic voice, soprano voice, maybe that's not something you put in your book, but both of you girls could do that. All right, go ahead.
All right. Hi. My name is Heather Bodine, and I'll be performing Astonishing from Little Woman.
Are you going to perform a cut of Astonishing?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, just the last part, so.
Great.
Okay. Astonishing,
I'll find it in the unexpected and unknown. I'll find my life in my own way today. Here I go, and there's no turning back. My great adventure has begun. I may be small, but I've got giant plans to shine as brightly as the sun. I will blaze until I find my time and place. I will be fearless, surrendering modesty and grace. I will not disappear without a trace. I'll shout and start a riot. Be anything but quiet. Christopher Columbus, I'll be astonishing. 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 At Thank you.
Oh, you couldn't hear me clapping over here because I was on mute. Great job. Remind me, sorry, I was talking when you got up. What was your first name again?
Heather.
Heather. Okay, great job, Heather. Really wonderful. You have a beautiful Disney mix. That's what they call that. This sound you're using. Yeah. They call that a Disney mix because it's not so much a belt mix. It's really turned over toward head voice. It's kind of like what the Little Mermaid goes to, you know, when she's singing about her stuff, right? Yeah. So it's got that kind of Jodie Benson feel. It's a beautiful voice and it's wonderful. This piece has certain sort of implications because of how it was performed by Sutton Foster the first time out. And certain pieces get locked that way. It's why people don't sing Barbra Streisand and, you know, stuff like that a lot. Because it has with it this expectation, right?
Yes.
So, you know, right out of the gate, I'm not sure that you couldn't deliver on that expectation. I think that you're doing a version that is safe and beautiful, but there's many moments that it could have gone to your belt voice that you just decided not to take it there. And I'm fine with that. You know, I'm fine with the performance you did. If ever you were going to audition it, though, you'd be putting yourself at a disadvantage because it leaves me with all these question marks of if there is a belt there, why didn't she use it? Especially on like, I'll shout and start a riot, and you went to mix. So I want you to sing that line, and I want to hear if there's a belt there. I want to hear you use it. I've got a big question mark about it, so you have to answer my question.
I'll shout and start a riot, right?
And by the way, it's your fault because you brought that question into my head by mixing it. So, yeah, so I'll shout and start a riot.
What? Okay, yeah, let's do that. Okay, we're going to start from I Will Not Disappear just so I can get into it.
Good. Then when you start, instead of taking your breath and going, I will not, I want to see what it would be like if you went, I will not, full on belt.
Okay, I'll try. Oh gosh. I will not disappear without a trace. I'll shout and start a riot. Be anything but quiet. Christopher Columbus, I'll be astonishing.
Okay, good. No, thank you. I so appreciate you being willing to do this because I think the class would agree. Okay, so it's about a million times more exciting what you just did. Yeah. All it is it's placement. So your placement, when it falls back, it feels like, oh crud, I'm yelling and I'm going to explode. Yeah, exactly. When your placement moves forward and all your teeth come out and you get up toward your nose and you stay really bright and young, which, by the way, the whole thing could be happier anyway. As an actor, you're not mad, you're ecstatic, right? As a character, I mean, you're ecstatic. So there's no reason that this whole thing couldn't have this expression that's high and bright and young and enthusiastic, okay? So when I said belt, you thought kind of like, Big Mama belt, right? And what I want you to think of is like young, enthusiastic cheerleader belt. Okay, so we're going to go at it again, and then just know that when you're going to come up for that part that you just went for, there's going to come a time you're going to leave the belt and let it go to mix. But instead of pulling all the energy out to go to mix, the Disney mix, you're going to lean forward and just kind of, like we did with McKenna early on. I want you to sing into your mix, but there'll be a point, and you'll decide very specifically it'll be a part of a word. It'll probably be the of astonishing. That's probably where you're going to hit your mix. But let's try it. Do the same thing you just did, and instead of belting Big Mama belt, right? You're gonna give me super young, Legally Blonde belt.
Cool. Okay.
Okay.
Same part, right? Okay.
I want to see all your teeth, like smiling teeth. I want to see everything in the mask. Okay.
I will not disappear without a trace. I'll shout and start a riot. Be anything quiet. Christopher Columbus.
Good. Stop for a sec. Stop for a sec. Okay, so just that much, that feels safe to me. Like that part, for you to belt that makes perfect sense. And because you can, what doesn't make sense is for you to mix it. Now I'm just giving you homework, because the work to do is how easy it can become to belt that. And I actually have a feeling it wouldn't take you long. I mean, it's just a little bit of work to make sure that the breath keeps moving through the belt, that it stays, bright enough that it's not on your throat, it's up in your face. But that one felt really comfortable to me, and it was super exciting. So then the next question is, right from where I stopped you, I'll be astonishing, a star, right on that vowel. See if you can cry whine your way into a mix, but don't pull your energy out, okay?
Okay.
Let's try it.
So
Yeah, and guys, your friends have to be really supportive, because this is not easy to do, especially with a guy in another room. All right, let's do it.
So we're going from
We're going from that awful Christopher Columbus part that girls always hack apart and shout and do the silliest things on, but go for it. I like how you're doing it.
okay.
Christopher Columbus, always astonishing, astonishing.
Good. Wait, stop. Yes, that's where we're going. You're so close. You're almost there.
Okay.
When you went astonishing, that vowel on that I vowel, that was it. You had a mix going. You were in it. And then you just went the one step higher and let it kick toward head voice, which you did the first performance for me. It was head voice. Completely on the top. That's definitely off limits. You don't get to do that top and head voice. You can do it in a mix, but you can't go choir girl, because you're too good. Like, you're too close to having a great mix.
Okay.
Keep pushing until it will. I want to try it one more time. If you even get 2 notes to go into a real mix, that's a win. A real belt mix, that's a win. Okay, so let's do it.
Let's try again. All right. Okay.
Christopher Columbus, always astonishing, astonishing.
Good. Take this. Go like this. Go astonishing. Do those 3 notes and do it whiny and breathe through it. So you're going to feel like I'm supporting like it's a belt, but you're not going to belt. It's going to go to a mix. You're going to support it like a belt, but you're going to whine and cry. Hey, astonishing. Way up there, okay?
Okay.
Try it. Yeah, without the piano. Just try it. Astonishing.
Okay.
Start singing it. You're fine. You're doing great. So the very first one. A sunny.
I'm trying to get that like sound. I don't.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that?
No, that's a belt. So you're not going to yell. It's going to be like go like this. Go, no way.
No way.
That.
Okay.
Yes, that.
Astonishing.
That.
Astonishing. Yeah.
Yes, that. Can you keep the high note in that too? Do both of them.
Yeah. Wait, what did you say again? What was the thing you said? No way. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
No way. Okay. No way. Astonishing. Astonishing.
No, don't let it go to head voice there, though. You can stay there. I swear you can. Astonishing. Stay there. You can do it.
Okay. Astonishing. It needs more air. I'm sorry.
Yes, yes. Actually, you're absolutely right. It needs more air pointed toward the front of your face. You can do it. One more time. You got it. And then I'll let you go.
Astonishing. It's so shaky.
Yes, it's shaky because the muscles aren't quite trained underneath to make it work. And I swear, it's better for me in master classes if I can just make it all perfected right now and tell you, oh, that's really beautiful because it's all prepped. But part of my job is to hear where there can be more and it can be better. And this is one of those moments where honestly, the best thing I can do for you is to pull it out of that comfort zone where you plopped it to your head voice and say, there's more, there's another voice. And the reason I know is because when you went, astonishing, the I vowel that you did the first time I had you go back and do it, it was there. It was exactly right. So because I heard that, I swear you can do this whole thing in a real belt mix. And yes, it's shaky, but that's why you have a teacher that you can go to and work this thing, okay?
I'm not sure about it.
Yes, do it one more time. Do it one more time.
Okay.
And know that it can happen quickly. Like, honestly, my personal expectation, if I pulled you into a room to do this, is that I could get you routining it in like 20 minutes. Yeah. That in 20 minutes, we could have it routined enough where I could say, that feeling that you have, you need to find the feeling so that you can routine it. I may not get you there now. And like I said, it looks better in a master class if I can just go there, see how pretty that was. I don't mind leaving you off where it ain't pretty as long as I know you're on the right journey, okay?
Right.
Okay. Come on, one more time. Let's get this. Let's get it with piano. Astonishing.
Okay. Astonishing.
Yes.
Astonishing.
Yes, yes. Now listen, out of all of the things you just did the ending of the very top belt mix get a little unstable? Sure. Are there, voice teachers out in the broadcast world of this potentially going, oh my gosh, he's going to ruin and make this poor girl yell until she can't anymore? This is where the reality has to come to play. And I do this every day with people who do this all the time. This will not ruin your voice. I promise. You have a healthy, wonderful voice. If you shout it indefinitely and, then yeah, that wouldn't be good. But I can already hear it in you. Like the first line you just did when you landed, I don't know if you heard me yell yes, you landed in it perfectly after astonishing. It was exactly where it needs to be. So I hear it on you. It's just a little matter of work to put it in. Right. Do you want to shout indefinitely? No, but that's why you get a belt mix. You get a belt mix so that you don't have to yell on the top, and it's there in you. So my big encouragement to you is go further, explore this until you get it, because the problem is you're at a competitive disadvantage if you don't do it. You'll be a pretty singer and people go, oh, she's pretty and that's sweet. But the next 5 people who can really mix the crud out of this.
Right.
I have a student named Lael Van Kuren. She's just beautiful and wonderful. And she's in, she did that wonderful role in Sister Act, both on Broadway and the tour. And now she's out doing Sylvia and Finding Neverland. And both of those roles are along the lines of what you were just doing. And she was one who belted everything when I first got her. and didn't know this belt mix thing. And we had this exact conversation where I said, you have to get this other piece unlocked. And funny enough, these 2 roles that she's been doing, they require it, just like the song you just sang. So it is a technical thing that you have to learn and you have to be able to do. And it's a belt mix. All right?
Thank you.
Cool. Next. Somebody, tell me when this class ends.
You know, the class ends in 2 minutes.
Oh, crud.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know what you like to. We had like 3 other people, but I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Am I the worst time manager? I swear I'm looking at it wrong.
Happens. Every teacher it happens to. You know how it is.
No, usually I'm really good about watching the clock, and I swear I've been looking up at this.
On an online thing though, because I teach online classes and stuff too sometimes, and when you do it's super hard.
I've never done it, but I'm on East Coast, and I keep looking at 1:24, and I think I did the timing wrong in my brain. And so my other singers who I'm supposed to hear, I'm really, really sorry, but here's a deal I will make for you, okay? And Alex will hold me to this. My deal I'll make with you is I will come back another day if your nice teacher will let me, and I will work with the rest of you guys, okay? Only because you've been our guinea pigs to start and try this. So Alex, I'm committing to do this for this wonderful group of singers. Is your bell gonna ring in 2 minutes?
In like 1 minute, but yeah.
Is it super loud and long?
It's short and loud, but you keep going.
All right, guys, I want to show you something as a resource, and then we're going to see each other again, so I don't even care that I get tons of this in. I really appreciate you letting us experiment with this format. This is Appcompanist, by the way, and I was talking about trying on my own at different speeds, different tempi. It's super important that when you practice, I don't want you practicing with tapes that people make for you, or I say tapes because I'm old, with set recordings. And that's why we built Appcompanist, is because set recordings, oh, there's your bell. Set recordings, you're locked in to follow it. And what Appcompanist does, here, I'll just let you, can you hear that? So this, we start with these awesome recordings, but like, let's say you wanted to do that piece a step down, you can change key, and instantly, I'm a half step down, and the quality doesn't change at all of the recordings. So,
Darin, could you have Mary send us like information on it, like the name and everything just written out so I can remember and print it out for them or whatever?
Yeah, so it's Appcompanist, and I'll have her send it, but it's APP like an app. But then, guys, the cool thing is like, so listen to this. If you want melody, it's banging out the melody. If you want more melody,
Darin, hold it up a little bit higher. There you go. And angle it. Angle the bottom part away from the, there, right there.
so you can hear, like that's melody, right? And if you slide down, then it's accompaniment. And then when you're ready, you just get rid of melody and sing with the accompaniment only. And then, slow as you want.
Awesome. I'll make sure that I get this for you guys or whatever. But Darin, thank you so much for taking
Thank you for having me, guys. Get on to your next class. I'll come back.
Cool. Okay. We hope you do it.
Hey, 3 great singers today, you guys. Really great job. And I can't wait to hear the next 4 of you when I come back and manage my time better.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.